Alright, this is again the Grim Reaper hybrid broadhead. The last video I did with this, I did more of a repair job. I had some stuff jammed in that was preventing one of these mechanical blades to pop out. Or actually it was popping out fine, it just wasn't going back in, it was kind of hanging out. Anyways, I didn't really delve into the more particulars of the disassembly and reassembly. It was more the cleanup of the inside of it. This time I'm going to try to go a little bit more in detail, just because I haven't found anything on YouTube yet that is hybrid exclusive. I guess it's mostly because one, it's still so new of a broadhead, and two, I couldn't find anything officially released by Grim Reaper since 2007. So I figured, 7 years later, maybe it was time for a little reassuring upload of a newer video, just for anybody who's not in the know. But without further ado, here I go. And I'm sorry if I don't have any of the exact names of the pieces. I'll just call them what I think they should be called, and it should be pretty self-explanatory from there. So you open up the package, and you pull out one of the broadheads, and this is what you get. It didn't take me long to figure it out, but I was a little bit confused at first, because this part right here, the back end of it unscrews, and it looks kind of like an arrow insert. That, if you didn't notice, keeps tension on the spring that's underneath this cup. And when you screw it onto your arrow, you'll see it sliding up the cup there, and it goes flush with the ferrule. So once this broadhead is on your arrow, you don't really need this, I'll call it the insert, but hold on to it, because if you don't have your broadheads on your arrow, then your pieces can run amok. You lose them, misplace them, fall apart, and generally ruin your day. So anyways, take that off and you set it aside, and then you got your, I'll call it the retaining cup. That you just set that down, and directly underneath this cup is this spring, which is what gives it the tension, and you screw the arrow onto it, and it compresses and keeps everything nice and tight. See, without any compression on it, you see the mechanical blades just kind of flop around. So it's kind of an integral piece, that spring in that cup. So you can take the cup, or the spring off. The next piece, kind of small, it's the gold colored ring. And then you've got the blades held together with this other ring that's split right there. You see there's a gap. You can spin that gap around to each blade and kind of wiggle it around and get that hole lined up with that gap, and you can just pull that blade right off. That's pretty simple. And hopefully you'll be able to see on the camera there's the groove for each mechanical blade. And just line that gap up with that, and kind of wiggle that ring out from through that the hole from each of the mechanical blades. Okay, I went ahead and went the extra step there. All I did was I took a paper towel and I wrapped it around this tip here, and it actually came off really easy. I just broke the thread there, and you just unscrew the tip. A lot of threads, and there's the tip, and then you've got your two Hades blades that just come right out, and you can have your ferrule, and that now, my friends, is the complete anatomy of the hybrid Grim Reaper broadhead. And simply, what I'm just going to do real quick, since I've got it open, I'm just going to take off all the dust and target pieces and extra wood that I might have wedged in there. Make sure everything's nice and clean. I'll even take my little eyeglass screwdriver. Dust off the inside, which actually isn't too bad. And there it is. And Easily enough, put it back together. Take your Hades fixed blades. You notice you got the notch there on the bottom of it, and it's not easy to get confused as to where these blades go as opposed to the mechanical blades. You look for the side of the ferrule that has the groove that runs all the way up the length of the ferrule, and it's got a hole in there just for that notch. You just set that in there, find the sweet spot, drop your ferrule, find the sweet spot again, and it kind of sits right in there nice and snugly. Do the same thing for the other side. Try to do this without slicing your fingers. I highly advise not cutting your hands. You get them nice and set in there. Go ahead and screw the tip back in. Don't rush this because that tip is sharp. I can feel it gripping into my fingers. And of course I drop the blade. And make sure the tips of your fixed blades are snugly underneath this tip, otherwise it won't work. And it'll be obvious if you don't have them in there, because it just won't screw on all the way, or your blades will just fall off the ferrule. And once that's on there nice and snug, now you go back to your tedious business. First thing I grab is the gapped ring and slide that onto the ferrule. Now, one tricky part about this too, you got to watch out where this the gap in the ring is, because right at the top of the ferrule here, before it meets the blades, there's a little notch. It's this little nipple thing, and when you're all done putting your mechanical blades, that groove, that gap in the ring will meet right up with that little nipple thing. So it might be kind of a process to get these mechanicals on there straight and correct the first time. It's just simple trial and error is all it is. So you take your mechanical blade, sharp part down towards the ferrule, and you take that ring and you worm it through that first hole. So now, demonstrate, see, now it's on there. And you spin that ring around to the other side, and now you'll grab your other mechanical blade, you fit it in the groove, however way it might work for you, and slide it down away from that notch. Worm that little gapped ring through the hole, which won't be very far, you'll see it's pretty close, and then you can slide the whole set. So now you got the mechanical blades on there. Get the next piece, the gold ring, and it slides under there, and you notice the two mechanicals have a small little groove that this gold ring fits in perfectly, and that's right where that goes. And you go with your spring, just slide that on there nice and gentle like. Then your grooved retainer cup, make sure those grooves line up neatly with your mechanical blades. Might take a little bit of working, but it's fairly simple. And you can take either your arrow shaft, you can go back to this arrow insert looking part, and you'll start screwing it on. You'll start feeling tension, and don't be afraid. It's supposed to be like that. Just make sure your grooves are lined up, and then you can start putting a little bit of effort into it, and you'll see that retaining cup goes up flush against the ferrule. And then there you have it. You are completely installed with all your blades intact. Do a little function test, make sure everything works good. And there it is. A Grim Reaper hybrid broadhead in perfect working condition. That's all basically the same steps you take for either cleaning it after target shooting, or actually target shooting or getting a kill, or replacing your blades with new ones. And that's really about it. Any questions, feel free to write. I try to respond to all my comments. And hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, take something from this little lesson video, and see you next time.